Hola, hola, ¿qué tal amigas y amigos? Buenos días, ¿cómo están? ¿Cómo les va? Les saluda Juan Carlos Brando. Estamos completamente en vivo la mañana de hoy desde los distintos lugares de los Estados Unidos. En mi caso particular me encuentro en la ciudad de Atlanta, donde hoy pues tenemos una temperatura bastante agradable y nos encontramos conversando también con la abogada Margaret W. Wong y con la traductora que está el día de hoy, Selene, que visita la oficina de Cleveland desde la ciudad de Raleigh el día de hoy. Así que vamos a tener una muy buena conversación en esta mañana hablando de temas migratorios. Vamos a hablar de lo que es la realidad, de lo que está pasando en la frontera sur de los Estados Unidos. También lo que está pasando con el tema de la migración desde el país de Canadá y todo lo que está ocurriendo con lo que va a ser el Real ID Act, que entraría en vigencia a partir del próximo año. Pero vamos a darle la bienvenida a la abogada y a su traductora del día de hoy. Buenos días, Elena, ¿cómo está?
Hola, buenos días.
Good morning, Miss Wong. How are you doing today?
I'm doing very well, and thank you.
Thank you so much, Miss Wong. Bueno, el día de hoy quisiéramos comenzar hablando un poco acerca de la fecha de la entrada en vigencia de aplicación del Real ID. ¿Qué significa esto y cómo podría afectar a nuestra comunidad la exigencia del Real ID en aeropuertos y distintos puertos de los Estados Unidos?
So they want to know how, the real ID is now going to be issued for you to have a real ID. They want to know how it's going to affect the Hispanic community that are not able to obtain a real ID.
That's right. That's why President Biden actually gave 5 years of work permit. Anytime you filed like an asylum, a U visa, a T visa, S visa, green card, residencia, nowadays you're getting 5 year work permit, except the C14 is 4 years, C18 is 1 year. That's why it's extremely important you get that work permit, even though I know everybody wants residencia, everybody knows citizenship. That work permit itself is a real ID, number one. Number two is, as I said earlier, Atlanta came up with new law, Tennessee came up with new law saying that July 1st, Florida always have it, Texas always have it, that everybody have to report someone who they think have no papers to ICE. So far, I haven't seen, we have a pretty big office in both Nashville and Atlanta. I haven't seen too much calls from immigrants who were stopped by ICE or something, except of course if they have criminal records. So I think it's okay. Real ID Act did not come in yet, so it depends on who will be the new president, and then we'll go from there. But absolutely everybody, you should worry about. If I were you, I would start filing tax return, either with a tax ID number or with a social, maybe move to states that have that can give driver's license with or without a work permit, as long as you have your passport, your IDs, your social or your tax. There's things that they'll need, of course. There are more than 20 states in America now that give driver's license without work permit. This driver's license is only a driver's license. Driver's license. It gives you right to drive. It doesn't give you a right even for real ID. Some driver's license is not a real ID, the 1 star, 2 star, and stuff like that. I would not worry about too much about a real ID. I would worry more about if the new president comes, what could we do to avoid deportation? Now, if since Biden is still here, and if Kamala's Harris win, we will have to think better than to avoid deportations. Now that we avoided deportation, how could I make myself better by getting a driver's license, by getting my work permit, maybe not just a residencia?
Sí, muy buena pregunta. Sé que ahorita el presidente Biden hizo una ley de que si usted aplica por un asilo o otro alivio, le dan un permiso de trabajo por 5 años, dependiendo de la categoría. Para asilo es C8 y te dan el permiso de trabajo por 5 años, y luego la categoría C14 te lo dan por 4 años. Ahorita no, como ahorita no está en efecto la ley de tener un Real ID, entonces no te preocupes por eso mucho ahorita. Ahorita los tenemos que preocupar de quién va a ser el nuevo presidente y cuáles van a ser las nuevas leyes que él va a hacer. Está diciendo que hay unos estados, 20 estados en los Estados Unidos donde te puedes mover para obtener una licencia. Simplemente te preguntan por tu dirección y también dónde es tu número seguro y también si usted hace las declaraciones de impuestos, entonces eso están preguntando, pero sí te puedes mover a 20 estados para agarrar tu licencia.
Ok, muchísimas gracias. Thank you very much, Miss Wong, for this answer. Y gracias, Selene, por la traducción. Vamos entonces ya con nuestra primera pregunta de parte del público en la mañana de hoy. Y nos dicen lo siguiente: buenos días, abogada. Soy panameño. Mi papá era ciudadano americano, nacido en los Estados Unidos. Él nunca me pidió, ¿hay algo que pueda yo hacer para obtener mi nacionalidad americana? Él vivió en Panamá, se casó con mi mamá, pero nunca nos trajo a vivir a los Estados Unidos. Ahora yo vine a vivir aquí, pero no tengo papeles. Mi padre falleció hace 4 años.
Okay, muy buena pregunta. Deme un segundo. So we have our first question. Good morning, Ms. Wong. I am from Panama. My father was a United States citizen, but he never filed a petition for me. Is there something that he can do for me to,
Yes.
to get some kind of status? He actually passed away 4 years ago.
That's fine.
And
How
he lives
old?
he lived in Panama and then he married his mother, but he never worked, but they never brought children to the United States.
Did the mother, let me ask you some questions. Did your mother ever got a green card, residencia? If so, when? Did father ever, they married, so did father ever file the thank you. Did father ever file the I-130 for the mother? Second question, how old are you now? How old is the father when he died? Where is your mother now? Does your mother have a green card or citizen? Also, do you have father's tax return? Did father ever serve in the armed forces? When did father move to, of course, father is born here because he's an American citizen. When did father move to Panama? Why did he move there? And when did he move back? And does he have any tax return to show he is in Panama? He's here. That's very, very important because there are law, and it's the father's parents, a citizen or green card holder. That's also very important. There are 3 ways to get you either a green card or a citizen. I presume you don't have a tourist visa, you are stuck in Panama, and I don't know where you are now, but let me tell you, there are 3, I sound so stupid, let me advise you. There are 3 ways to be a citizen of America. You're either born in America, or you're born in the American embassy of America in Panama or something. There's a blue book that anytime your parents are, and I don't think you are because you would have known, anytime your parents, we do a lot of children of ambassadors or A visas, G visas. Those are all not-for-profit ambassadors and workers and ambassador. So children born for those people in a foreign country are citizens of America, as long as your name is not in a blue book. There's a blue book that's very precious. That's number 1. Number 2 is you can derive citizenship because father or mother is here 7 out of 14 years, 7 out of 10 or something, and the last age the father has to be is of 14. The third way to do it is the grandparents were citizens or green card holders, and somehow their period of stay in America can inure back to the father and inure back to the grandchildren. These are all ways that can do it for citizenship. Now, another way is your father died, he never filed anything. If he filed for your mother, depends on when was it filed. Maybe I can use the mother's case. These are very interesting questions, but a lot of work. That's why it would be nice. We do a lot of cases where they work. The father died, of course, but the father fought in the Second World War, fought in the Korean War and stuff. Anytime they worked for the service, American military keep really good records of service members, honorary discharge, dishonorary discharge, died, had cancer because they have the VA hospital. So if that, you can always get records. So these are records we'll need because, and I'm glad you asked that question because I think most, especially for Mexican people, they have grandparents that were here, went back, and then the parents didn't know they're already citizens. So because the Mexican people have been in America since the 1930s or 1940s, but you're Panama. So these are the questions we need to know.
Ok, muy buena pregunta. Para empezar, voy a necesitar varias preguntas contestadas. Ella quiere saber si su mamá era residente, si alguna vez su papá hizo una petición para su mamá, su papá hizo declaraciones impuestas, por qué se movió a Panamá. Son unas buenas preguntas también. Y también quería saber si los papás de tu papá eran residentes o ciudadanos. So esas preguntas van a ser muy importantes para el caso.
Sí,
También es,
perdón. Sí, creo que esta persona nos dice que tiene 25 años. Su papá parece que nunca los pidió porque al parecer tenía otra familia aquí en Estados Unidos. Miss Wong, let me just make the scenario. So most people from the U.S., like in Venezuela as well, used to go and work in the Panama Canal. And, you know, sometimes we are a little bit, we have a little bit behaviors. I'm talking about men. So he apparently had a family here and had a family there. So the thing is, he never filed for his family, but he's American born, and all his family was from the United States.
So these are illegitimate children. So the whole thing is where they and you explain. The whole thing is were these children paternalized? So you need to also look at Panama law to see if they were, even though they were not married to the mother, they never filed for the mother, were they legitimized by the laws of Panama, by the laws of Mexico, by the laws of China? If they're paternalized and legitimized, then your father is still an American citizen. So it depends on that law. So yeah, so maybe that's the question. Yeah.
so their question is, they want to know, so they want to know if the father can do something for them, even though he had a whole family, another family here in the United States. They just want to know if they can get us, some status, even though
But he died,
they
which
never
means
filed
that's
anything
right.
for mother,
So it depends
son.
on if the father legitimized the child.
Okay.
Yeah, if the father is legitimized but he died, then we have to figure out a way. Why didn't the father? First thing is he even his child? Because if it's
Okay.
not legitimized and paternalized, if it's legitimized, then we have to see when was he legit. If it's 25 years old, it's not good. We have cases where they legitimize,
Yeah,
they
he's
meet up.
25.
Yeah, 25.
He's 25 years
Oh,
old.
really?
He's
I didn't.
25,
Yeah. I'm just coming up with the
okay.
age. Thank you. So smart. Yeah, no problem. So first, if it's really the son, you need legitimization or paternalization. Second is my father's American citizen. He never filed for me, but he died. He never married my mother. So does he have other children from this side? Am I a step from the citizen spouse or citizen brother? Maybe I'm just coming out with ideas. The first thing is to see if he's a real son, because if he legitimized them and never married the mother, his name is on the birth certificate. No way.
Ok, so primero,
Thank you.
antes de empezar nada, como sé que falleció y nunca hizo ninguna petición, como ya tienes 25 años, vamos a tener que averiguar si usted es el hijo legítimo de su papá. So tenemos que averiguar si el nombre de usted está en el acta de nacimiento.
Juan, did we answer the
Okay.
question? Yeah.
Yeah, well, I think so. Sí, creo que sí. Hay muchas preguntas con respecto a este caso que tendría que la abogada revisar todos sus documentos, revisar de pronto documentos de su papá, revisar documentos suyos, saber cómo fue la relación, si usted fue un hijo legitimado, si su papá lo reconoció y le dio el apellido. Hay muchas cosas que demostrarle al sistema de inmigración para que ellos puedan ayudarle en este caso. Hay que revisar también las leyes panameñas para ver cómo es el proceso de legitimar a un hijo en Panamá y bueno, ya partiendo de esa base, pues se verá si hay algo que se puede hacer a un post-mortem en el caso de su papá. De todas maneras, usted puede hacer una cita en la ciudad donde usted se encuentre, puede hacer una cita llamando al 216-259-8897, 216-259-8897 y la abogada Margaret Wong va a ayudarle a revisar y tener un poco más de claridad en su caso. Tenemos otra pregunta y nos dice, hola, a mi abuela le hicieron el proceso de petición familiar por medio de su hija. Pero cuando fue a El Salvador para hacer su proceso en el consulado, ya no la dejaron regresar a Estados Unidos porque parece que el abogado hizo algo que la perjudicó. ¿Hay algo que se pueda hacer para traerla de regreso? Ya está bastante anciana y se deprime porque toda la familia estamos aquí en Estados Unidos y ella está sola en El Salvador.
Okay, so this question is, hi, they did my grandmother the family petition through her daughter, but when she went to El Salvador, the consulate there, they didn't let her return to the United States. Looks like the attorney did something that affected her case. Is there something that we can do to bring her back from El Salvador?
If it's the daughter petitioning for the mother, and the mother was here more than 180 days out of status of a 3-year bar, more than 360 days out of status of 10-year bar. You always need a 601A waiver if the mother was living here undocumented and go out, maybe a 601A. If the mother doesn't have a spouse who's a green card or citizen and doesn't have parents who are green card or citizen, you should not leave, because then you cannot come back for 10 years or 3 years.
So, but she's in El Salvador stuck right now.
Right.
Okay.
That's why I don't know.
Okay.
Do they have, the question now is, before she left, did she file a 601A? If she did not file the 601A, then why didn't she file it? Maybe she doesn't qualify, because daughter cannot be a 60. It could only be a I-130.
I-130.
Yeah,
Okay.
you got it. Yeah.
Ok, so para empezar el proceso, normalmente se hace la petición, y si usted está aquí en los Estados Unidos más de 180 días sin estatus migratorio, entonces usted necesita pedir un perdón. Si no se hizo el perdón, entonces sí se puede complicar el proceso. Para aplicar para el perdón tienes que tener padres que son ciudadanos residentes o esposa que son residentes o ciudadanos. Entonces, posiblemente no sabemos en el caso de su abuela si hicieron el proceso bien, cuando hicieron la petición familiar, si también se hizo el perdón. So es algo que puede pasar si no se hace el perdón en el trámite.
Can I ask something? Maybe look at the normally if they cannot come back, look at the 221G letter. The first page should say 221G, and in the bottom, they'll say probably 6C, that means we applied. 6E means an illegal transport. Maybe she came together with a child who became a citizen who re-sponsored her. That's a 6E. Maybe it's like whatever it is, look at the denial, look at the 221G, and you will know. So you don't even have to guess. So if you want to, just email to my office or call us. I can look at the 221G letter for you and tell you why.
Cuando también la abogada Wong quiere saber, cuando usted estaba en el consulado, normalmente te dan una carta de por qué le negaron el caso. Entonces, usted puede revisar y ver por qué le negaron, y también le puedes mandar esa notificación a la abogada por correo electrónico. Siempre puedes llamar a este número para que nosotros podamos revisar el caso para ver por qué le negaron la entrada.
Bueno, importante este caso, y sí, yo creo que lo mejor en esta situación es que usted pueda hablar con la abogada para que ella pueda revisar el caso. Tengo entendido que esta abuelita tiene propiedades y tiene varias casas aquí en Estados Unidos y tiene su familia, todos sus hijos, pero está deprimida porque no puede regresar aquí al país. Ms. Wong, I remember one day talking to a person that came carrying her grandson, and you mentioned that because that could have been a perm bar. Would it be a case like that if this person came maybe with grandsons or granddaughters?
Right, that's why it's a 6E. Because 6E means that it's an illegal transport, but because it's anything before April of 96, you could do illegal transport, you need a waiver. You don't need a waiver. After April of 96, only if you come together, exactly like you said, children or grandchildren or spouse or grandparents, then you can at least get a waiver. And that takes about 9 months to 1 year. So this mother, if that's the case, she's probably stuck there and you don't need a qualifying relative. That's why you need to look at the 221G letter. If she has no qualifying relative, if it's only a 6E, you can file the waiver. If it's 6C1, you need qualifying relative. If it's any other waiver, you need to qualify. If it's criminal, adult children can be a qualifying relative. But other waivers, you need parent or spouse. That's the trick of going out and coming back, because I feel bad for this old lady because, but look at the 221G letter. Don't give up. There's always hope for something.
Dice la abogada, sí, lo siento mucho que su abuelita está fuera del país, se quedó ahí, está muy deprimida, pero por favor revise la carta, la 221G, para ver por qué fueron las razones de por qué le negaron la entrada. Pero dice, antes de abril 96, si usted entra aquí ilegalmente, está aquí por más de un año, entonces usted puede marcar la barra permanente. Hay varias razones de por qué le pueden negar el caso estando fuera en el consulado, y eso tenemos que revisar por cuál fue la razón.
Bueno, muy importante entonces tener la información completa para poder actuar en este caso y que la abogada pueda darle una respuesta más detallada. Para que usted pueda hacer una cita en su ciudad, llame al número 216-259-8897, 216-259-8897 y hable directamente con la abogada Margaret Wong y ella le va a dar una respuesta para su caso de inmigración. Nos hacen la siguiente pregunta. Buenos días, yo obtuve mi ciudadanía por medio de mi ex esposo. Nos divorciamos porque estaba haciendo drogas. Si yo me casara otra vez, ¿podría pedir a mi nuevo esposo?
Good morning. I obtained my citizenship through my ex-husband, but we divorced because he was using too many drugs. If I were to marry again, would I be able to petition my
Usually, if
husband?
I were you, number one, depends on if you get the citizenship 3 or 5 years. Since you said you threw your husband's probably 3-year case, I don't know if you have children with the first one, but the general rule is normally we don't recommend people to marry at least after 9 months to a year or 6 months after the divorce. But since you already become a citizen, then the question is, normally we also don't recommend people who got a 3-year citizen and sponsor someone within 5 years of divorce, unless we can prove it's a real marriage. So as long as it's a real marriage, and how do you prove it? Because you already got citizenship. Then they would not question, because always you need to protect the petitioner. So the answer is yes, you can sponsor, but the general rule is you should not sponsor until after 5 years. If you yourself got the green card through a marriage and got the citizen through, not so much citizen is the green card. So you already become citizens, but it's 3 years. 3 years means that you are living, loving, sleeping in the same bed, cohabitating with that husband, is not separated, which means you passed the 3 years. That's serious. So you suddenly 3 months later divorce, 3 months later married, they may, and that's what Trump is arguing. Trump is saying that even though we got citizenship, Trump is opening a department to investigate citizen cases and say, is there any way they can get rid of our citizenship? I mean, that's what he says. Who knows? The mass deportation, the relinquishing, revoking of citizenship. Now, Ohio, our Republican, a person already wanted in this voting, which is coming up on November 2nd, they want IDs for even citizens. That means citizens of America now, a driver's license is not enough. They want our certificate or our passport. You know how many of us, we didn't have money to apply for passport. We don't have a passport, and we don't have a birth certificate because I'm 80 years old. I was born in Alabama. I don't even know if I can find a birth certificate. See, that's the problem with the Republicans now. They are trying to do everything to hurt people like us who are not born here, but still we are citizens of America.
Okay, so sponsor until after 5 years of green card and after 3 years of U.S. citizen?
5 years of divorce.
5 years of
Yeah.
divorce.
But you're right. So the green card, so it's sort of about 5 years, right?
Okay.
There was a time that under Obama, under Bush, they do not look at this. Now they look at it. Even Biden, they look at it.
And then after 3 years of becoming a U.S. citizen.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Because 3 years, that means you were in love, you were in the same bed as your husband.
Okay.
So now if you have the new guy's baby in less than 9 months, whose baby is it? You
Yeah.
just told immigration you're 3
Yeah.
years. I'm sorry, it's sort of complicated, yeah.
Okay, so sí, nada más para aclarar, dice que sí,
And
pues.
that's how law firms work, because we are always teaching, because we have 50 years of experience, we are lawyers. How do you teach paralegals and translators and administrators to think immigration? Because immigration is nuanced. It's like bankruptcy lawyers, right? They always think about how to get around. I keep my house, I keep my one car. Immigration is always think about how do I protect deportation? How do I get you legal? How do I protect against fraud? So if you marry and get a green card, they don't think, oh, you sponsor someone so fast, it's the first one real. Because if they think you're not real, they take away your green card. And Trump now is taking away citizenship. I mean, I'm talking, but who knows? Sorry.
Ok, sí, nada más para aclarar la respuesta es sí, puedes pedir tu esposo después de 5 años del divorcio. Sé que usted ya se hizo ciudadana y esperaría 3 años después del divorcio cuando eres ciudadana y lo esperaría 5 años después de que eres residente. La razón es porque no queremos que inmigración piense que es un matrimonio frauduloso, porque ellos van a estar pensando, oh, usted ya se divorció y ya está pidiendo a alguien más, entonces le van a preguntar si el matrimonio es verdadero, van a hacer una investigación y por eso ella no recomienda hacerlo tan pronto, esperar unos par de años para que no piensen inmigración que es un matrimonio frauduloso.
Ok, muchísimas gracias por su pregunta. Y bueno, vamos con la siguiente y ya con esta nos despedimos. Y nos dicen, buen día, abogada. Mi hijo de 9 años fue secuestrado por los coyotes al cruzar para Estados Unidos en Houston. Para dármelo me pidieron $5,000. A él le decían que si no pagaba, él se iba a quedar con ellos. Yo tuve que pagar ese dinero para que me lo entregaran. Ahora él está conmigo, pero tiene algunas secuelas de miedo. Yo no denuncié en ese momento ante las autoridades por miedo a que nos regresaran a todos.
Good morning, attorney. My son was 9 years old when he was kidnapped by the coyotes when he was crossing the border to the United States in Houston. So they extorted $5 million, and they said that if she didn't pay, that they were going to, stay with the kid. I had to pay the money so that they could return my child. He's now with me, but he still is really scared. I didn't file a police complaint in that moment because I was scared that we were all going to be sent back.
How many years ago was your night? How old is your child now? I presume you're asking about a U visa, but on the other hand, you have no proof, and this happens like daily. So maybe write down the story. Maybe it's a T visa case. Maybe you're looking at U visa. But if you filed asylum, then maybe you can tell the judge the story. I don't know, where's the father? Did the father abandon, abuse, or neglect the child? And if the father is living with him and it's okay, but if he's not, maybe if the kid is still under 18, some states allow SIJ cases, the water court cases under 21, New York, Connecticut, New Jersey, Ohio, Atlanta, Memphis, Nashville, Tennessee, they all only allow 18, Michigan. So it depends on how old is the child. So it depends if you miss your 1 year on asylum. So these are all questions we have. But this question is coming up a lot with Latino clients. So I think on TikTok and on Facebook, a lot of Latino lawyers are talking about because they were arrested or held by coyotes and stuff. So we really have to you can't just say, 9-year-old, because who remembers these stuff? It's only a 9. So I'm not questioning it. It's asking a rape victim, all these horrible questions. But these are issues that you need to think about.
Ok, muy buena pregunta. Sé que es una pregunta común que hemos estado recibiendo, pero para empezar el proceso, el trámite, vamos a necesitar varias respuestas contestadas. Queremos saber cuántos años ya pasaron desde que este incidente pasó. Posiblemente podemos hacer una visa U, pero primero tenemos que ver el caso. Posiblemente puede ser una visa T o posiblemente usted puede ser una solicitud de asilo si fue dentro del primer año de que pasó esto, si fue recientemente. Usted puede explicarle al juez que usted tiene un temor a regresar a su país sucedido lo que le pasó a su niño cuando tenía 9 años. Pero para esto vamos a necesitar varias preguntas contestadas porque obviamente tenemos que ver muy bien el caso, revisarlo para ver de qué alivio usted califica.
Ok, bueno, es un caso quizás más común de lo que pareciera, de las cosas que pasan en la frontera sur de los Estados Unidos. Eh, pero bueno, usted tiene la oportunidad de hablar directamente con la abogada Margaret Wong. Haga una cita al 216-259-8897 y la abogada le va a ayudar en el proceso de revisar lo que podría ser una posibilidad para arreglar no solamente su niño, sino para que pueda arreglar sus papeles, sus documentos migratorios usted también. Bueno, ya nos tenemos que despedir. Selene, muchísimas gracias por la traducción. Miss Wong, thank you very much for having me today and I'll see you tomorrow.
Muchas gracias.
Thank you very much. Y a todos ustedes, muchísimas gracias por estar conectados con nosotros. Una vez más, les recordamos que el número de teléfono es el 216-259-8897 y la abogada tiene oficinas en Atlanta, Chicago, Cleveland, Columbus, Nueva York, Nashville y Raleigh, North Carolina. Y solo tiene que hacer una llamada y le van a ayudar con su caso de inmigración. 216-259-8897 es la abogada Margaret Wong, la que sí sabe de inmigración.